Today I wanted to talk about a topic that I've been getting quite a couple of messages on. It's about relationships and advice on relationships. I just thought I'd do an overall video as an advice video and see how you guys took it on and whether you liked it or not. I haven't really made like any notes or anything. I'm just going to do this off the top of my head. Relationships is quite controversial, and everyone deals with relationships differently. Everyone looks for different things. Everyone is completely different. I think that's quite difficult to understand when you're with someone or looking for someone, because you kind of feel like you look in them what you would do as a person. And I think that's what makes it quite tricky. This could turn into a very long video because I'm looking at relationships as a whole. But I'm going to start off with breakups. Breakups can be a very traumatic time. I've been through the worst of some of them, and I'm sure all of you guys have. It is an upsetting factor in your life. Even though you may have as many people that love you around you, you will still feel alone. And a lot of people do feel like that. I think it's within yourself to pick yourself up. With breakups, I think it's a lot to do with yourself and how much strength you have as a person, and it will really test your ability. I mean, if you really love someone, your partner, i.e. girl, guy, whoever they may be, and you really love them and they broke your heart, or the feelings are mutual, or things didn't end up the way that you envisioned them, it's always going to hurt a lot. And I know it's really difficult, but people will always tell you it will take time, it will take time. And you probably think at this specific moment in time, that's the only thing that I don't have. I don't have the time to be hurt. I don't have the time to be upset. But it sounds really horrible, but this too shall pass, and it works. And time is the greatest healer. Sometimes you may feel like you are being quite hypocritical, because you would, you know, tell your friends, oh, I try and deal with it like this, or he's not worth it, or she's not worth it, they don't treat you well enough. But when you're put into them shoes yourself, and you know what that person is like with you, and you know what they've done is wrong, it's a really difficult situation to try and wrap your head around. And again, it does really test your ability. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you should not take abuse, you shouldn't take violence, you shouldn't take this and you shouldn't take that, you shouldn't take a guy telling you what to wear, you should be able to do what you want to do and put your makeup on if you want to wear makeup. But at the end of the day, it's wholly up to you how you feel and what you feel comfortable with. It's a lot to do with, you know, how comfortable you feel with each other and how much you trust each other. And trust can be a really difficult factor when it comes to relationships. I think the main thing that does occur to me a lot of the time is, are you happy? Am I happy? Am I happy with who I'm with? Am I happy when I'm with them? Do they make me happy? And can I overcome what has happened in the past? The past is a very difficult situation, because the past is the past, but it also has an influence on the future, and you know, the way in which you go about things in the future, what you do, the way in which you may look at guys, the way in which you may interpret what another guy or girl then says to you. I also wanted to take a little bit of time out and talk about self-worth. I feel like a lot of people know when they're doing it, but they don't, if that makes sense, is that they forget their own self-worth. They forget as a human being how beautiful they are as a person inside and out, and exactly, you know, how much they mean to themselves and to other people. I think they let someone, i.e. their partner, you know, beat them down, and they think, oh, I deserve it. I deserved it because I argued with him. I deserved it because I don't trust him enough. And that's not always the case. People always do forget their self-worth, especially when it comes to breakups. They think, you know, my heart's broken and now I'm never going to find anyone else. I don't want to find anyone else. I don't want to be in a relationship if this is what it's going to make you feel like. And I feel like I've been there myself, and I felt these things myself. And it's such a difficult situation to be in, because it doesn't matter how much someone tells you you're beautiful and you're going to find someone who's worth it, you're going to find someone who loves you so much. It's so difficult to believe them at that time. And again, it all comes down to time. It all comes down to how strong you can be. And sometimes you feel like you can't, you know, break down that brick wall that you've built now, because you have built a thick layer of skin. You can't break it down when you do meet someone else, but you have to learn. I think it's all dependent on who you meet and whether they're worth it. You may feel like you have a lot of insecurities. You may feel, if you've been cheated on in the past, that, you know, everyone's going to cheat on you. Or you may feel like paranoid if they're looking at another girl or she's looking at another guy. You may feel paranoid. It's all about how you deal with it as a person. A lot of people tend to go to their friends or family members, people that are the closest to them, you know, to feel comfort. And that's completely fine. I myself, in personal situations, have found myself doing that, and I'm a lot of a talker, so I'm able to talk through my problems, and that's how I relieve my stresses, and that's how I get over things. Some people bottle things up, which I don't think is healthy at all, but it's obviously, again, to do with how they deal with things. But you may feel, even if you are a talker and you're very verbal about your situation, that you just don't want people to feel sorry for you anymore. And you don't, as much as you talk about it, and as much as you're upset, and as much as they sympathise and empathise with you, I guess you feel like you're still alone, because you don't want to carry on talking to the same person, your best friend, your mum, about this situation that's happened to you, you know, 3 months maybe down the line, again, about the same thing, because you're finding it really difficult to overcome it. And of course they're going to be there for you. And I think I've been in that situation as well, where you're just like, I don't know who to talk to anymore. I don't know who to say, and, you know, you may turn to the internet, you may start writing a blog, you may, you know, want to write out your feelings. I know I'm talking a lot about breakups, but I believe that it is a huge chunk of a relationship, or what people turn to for advice. When a relationship ends, people don't really talk about, you know, they may talk verbally a lot about the relationship and how good it is and how much fun they had on the weekend, but, you know, people don't really want to talk about what happened after it, or the stage in between that breakup and them meeting someone else, and what happens. It's just because it's a lot of, I guess, a lot of negativity and a lot of sadness, and some people don't know how to cope with it. I personally strongly believe that your partner, whoever you're with, you know, you should be their best friend. They should be your best friend. That's how it works. Obviously you have your own best friends, and you have, you know, you may share the same group of friends, but you should be the best of friends. You should be very comfortable with each other. You shouldn't shy away from really doing anything with each other. And I think trust and honesty are two of the key mains when it comes to relationships and making a relationship work. No one can sit here, I can't sit here and tell you, oh, this is how you should make your relationship work, this is what you should do if it's spiraling out of control. Only you can do that. And I also think a lot of it, I strongly believe a lot of it is to do with communication. A lack of communication, not only in relationships, but when you're at work, in the workforce. A lot of things get out of hand, or, you know, go downhill when there is a lack of communication. If there is a problem in the relationship, or something, you know, that may be upsetting you, it might be something as small as, you know, you go out for dinner, once a month, and you want date night once every 2 weeks instead, because you feel like you're not spending enough time with your partner. Things like that. I feel like a lot of people that are in relationships need to communicate that, and I am also a prime example of that. Sometimes I let things get to me, and I've learnt to be quite blunt. Maybe it's not so good to be so blunt, but I've learnt to communicate and talk about when there are issues. Because I think a lot of people think, oh, if I don't say anything, you know, I don't really want to make a big fuss of it, I don't want to make it into a big thing when it's such a small thing, but if you don't say something when it's a small thing and you let it develop, it will eventually become a big thing, and things will spiral, and it will be like a what are they called, the spiraling balls, you know, that get bigger and bigger. My advice to people out there who aren't yet in a relationship but they're talking to someone and they don't really know where it's going, my advice would be, yeah, maybe don't be so blunt and say what exactly are we dating or what's going on, but take it easy. Read their body language, see what they say to you. A lot of it isn't to do with what they're actually saying, a lot of it is to do with their body language and how they act towards you. That doesn't necessarily mean whether they, you know, give you a hug or whether they actually physically touch you, but what their body language is saying towards yours, whether they lean closer to you when they talk to you, or yeah, things like that. I think a lot of people don't take into account their gut feeling or what, you know, what their heart's telling them. A lot of people go by the book, and I don't think relationships work like that. They don't go by the book, and not everything is written out for you. You know, if she says this, if he says this, then you do this. I don't think it works like that. I think you have to react, you know, accordingly. So a lot of people that aren't in relationships but it may be going that way, good luck to you guys, and just be yourselves. Do not be someone that you're not, because the thing with that situation is if you're trying to please someone and you pretend to like the music that they're into and you dress a certain way to please them, and that's not actually you, that's not the way that you dress or the music that you listen to, you will soon get found out. And if you do, you know, because you really like them, if you do try and change, a month, 2 months down the line, they will know that that's not you. Just be yourself, and if they like you for who you are, then I guess that's what's worth it, and that's what you need to find. I think the right thing to do is necessarily push it. I think it's very true what people say, when you look, you don't find it, and when you're not looking, you know, 5 buses come at the same time. And I feel strongly that that is very true. My last point is going to be about yourself. I think you have to be able to love yourself and really enjoy yourself, really enjoy your own company, and be very comfortable with who you are as a person, as a whole, before someone else can enjoy you. I don't feel like anyone else is able or can love you if you don't love yourself. If you don't know who you are. I mean, I am a strong believer of people grow each day, and people change, you know, throughout the years. They mature, they may change for the wrong reasons or what you envision as being bad decisions, but they will change slowly. No one's ever going to be the same person. They're going to grow in confidence. They may not grow in confidence. People are changing all the time. But I think it's very important to know who you are, and that way, if you know who you are, you can't let anyone change you. You change for yourself, and I think that's very important in relationships. And, you know, being supportive of that, of your partner. If your partner, you know, wants to lose a few pounds, if your partner wants to start a new class doing something completely different to what they're doing, I think it's a good thing not to bog them down, or not to let anyone bog you down, because people are constantly growing. So that's it for this advice video. I hope you guys liked it, and whether you like this kind of setting, me sitting down just talking. If you did, then let me know, and please leave your comments and requests down below. If you do want me to address a video like this, an advice video, if you do want to send me a personal message, that I am more than happy to make an advice video on a different topic. You know, it can be confidential. I don't have to use any names. I could just use scenarios. If you guys like this type of video, then please thumbs up and let me know. Thank you very much for watching. I love you guys, and thank you so much for your support.